Hello, everyone. It is 1 o'clock on April 6th. Hope everyone is doing great. Heading into the last half of spring 2021 or two. Oh my goodness, I'm a year back. We have a pretty packed agenda, comparatively speaking. So I'm going to give people a few more minutes. I know they're probably thinking Louise isn't here. We may not be having a town hall, or you just don't want to be here with Brian playing traffic cop on this meeting. But we'll give them a few more minutes because there's only like 20 of us on right now. And I think there's some things on here that, especially the announcements, that we'll want a bunch of people to be on. So what do you think, Jamie Sickle? Let's wait for 32 people.
That sounds good.
All right, 32.
It's so brutal to do that. It's like when you ask a question to your teacher and you're like, Bueller,
Yeah.
Bueller. Like, we need music. We need something to fill the space. I'm like, I can't handle it.
See, and we were gaining, and I said 32, and then we just stopped at 27.
Yeah, and then they start to leave, and they're like, "Ha, no."
Yeah.
I'll come back
Just stay
in 3
on.
minutes.
Bear with us. Bear with us.
Log in on your phone, on your iPad.
All right. So for those who just joined, we are waiting for 4 more people, and the 32nd person will win a lottery. And that prize is to officially kick off the meeting so we can have people here getting important information.
What if 4 people don't show up?
Then the meeting's canceled, Carol. I mean, come on. It's the logical. Phone your friends. Yeah, come on. All right, we'll give 1 more minute. Oh, we got 29. Who was the 29th? Raise your hand. Can I be proxy? 30. All right, come on. Here we go. 2 more. Oh, we're at 32.
We're there.
All right, guys. So happy Wednesday, April 6th. Heading into the second half of our spring 2022 semester. Pretty packed agenda. So let's go straight off the top here. We have a couple of announcements. Carol, you want to talk about CIP Town Hall?
Okay, I sure will. Aloha, everyone. This Thursday, tomorrow, actually, we have the CIP Virtual Town Hall meeting. At that time, you'll be able to hear actually Brian Furuto and the CIP team and the contractors give an update about what's happening up on the side of Leahi. There's been some progress made, so if you want to know what's happening, please tune in. The virtual town hall is from 5 to 6 o'clock, and I'm going to ask Alyssa Kashiwada to put the link in the chat, and you can then tune in tomorrow. I hope to see you there.
Thank you, Carol. The Aloha A Institute, Jamie?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I'll put some info in the chat too, share out our registrations filling quickly, but we have the Aloha 8 Institute. We had it last summer too. It's 1 week, August 8th through 12th. It's for faculty, including lecturers, full-time faculty, any faculty. There's 3 tracks. There's active learning, so any modality, active learning in your classroom, online Hui, and then there's INA-based learning. So lots of good information, and you get a $750 stipend if you complete it. It was a ton of fun last year. So if you want more info, there's info in the chat, and I hope you join us. Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. Any questions about the CIP Town Hall, CIP in general, or the Aloha A Institute? So unlike LP, she gives like this painful wait. So I give like people 2 seconds, and I'm from New Jersey, so you speak up or you just don't say anything. So that's it. But you can always feel free throughout the agenda. You can ask any questions you need to. Chancellor's, excuse me, Chancellor's updates. First, our strategic plan updates with Kara.
Great, thank you so much. Well, I have exciting news. I did get a rough draft of a mission dashboard build. So based on our mission building summit that many of you attended, and I still don't feel like we have this clear front runner. So I'm going to go back and start thinking about ways to actually tease out more of the themes based on the conversations we had on that day. So I have that data. It's just a little bit more difficult to get that into a dashboard. So I'll share that link with you after I'm done chatting here. And then more excitedly, I'm so ready and full of anticipation for Friday, April 8th, which is just a couple, like, what is it, like less than 48 hours away now. We're doing a data gathering. And I love that word gathering because it's going to be a gathering of people, but we're also going to start thinking about what data we want to gather to measure what we value. So it's going to be this really interactive conversation with our POA undergraduate researchers. And because it's with our undergraduate researchers who have been looking at their own journey as self through autoethnographies and then also through focus groups with fellow students. Their whole focus has been through the lens of the student success framework. So that's how we're framing the conversation on Friday. And it's really this first bridge from going from when we've been talking, very kind of student focused, student centered, and now we're starting to really collect and gather the stories of our wonderful faculty and staff who make KCC. So that's going to begin this week, but we will have other opportunities. So especially, I will reach out to department chairs, deans, etc. If you want me to even do facilitate a session, or if you want to gather input from your own kind of stakeholders, we can do separate sessions for that. And I do plan on having specialized sessions after Friday with instructors, counselors, students, more general, and also the AGO. So this is really just the kickoff on Friday. But if you signed up, I still want you there, and I will be in touch with you because we really, our POA students are also so eager because they are like, okay, baby steps where they've interacted so much with each other. They've presented at the undergraduate research fair, but this will be the first time really kind of having conversations with faculty and staff about their work in such a small setting in these breakout rooms. So I think they're looking forward to it. If you are interested, I did put a link I will be putting a link to sign up in the chat. And I'm going to reach out to you either way. So please don't be sad if you get a message saying, oh, sorry, we already have, enough folks with the research interests that the students have. It just means there will be future opportunities for us to really get in there and start looking at metrics. So my whole goal with this process is for us to take the stories that we tell, that we see, that we hear, and then translate that into, okay, knowing what I know today, what does that look like 6 years from now? So what do I want in 2028 for our campus, for our Kapiolani? What's going to, and how are we going to get there to our dream Kapiolani? So that the beginning steps of that are starting. And when I say, how are we going to get there? Well, we have to use it too through measuring. So that's why I said everything is measurable. For those psych majors out there, that's something that we say. So if you have ideas, and it's really kind of starting this burgeoning of talking about metrics and what we're going to be doing going forward for our campus and strategic planning. So please come along. I'll try. PR and marketing and outreach isn't my strong suit. So I apologize for kind of last minute, like, whoa, okay, there's Kara and Chancellor with 5 emails in 1 week. But we'll get better at that. And thank you for all of your contributions so far. And for still having passion and energy despite the challenges we've faced over the last few years. All right, that's it from me, unless there are any questions. Softball questions would be nice today. It's been a day. Thank you.
Well, Kara links those things. I'm just real quick about the strategic plan because we only do this every 6 years. It's huge. It fits into a lot of what I do because we rely on that for budget and budget allocation. And so, the strategic plan, I know a lot of people always feel like, oh, it's so broad. I mean, everything fits under it anyway. It is important on how we get there, and getting input into the strategic plan process is huge. So I encourage all of you folks. I haven't had a chance to say anything about it all this time because I wasn't leading the meeting. And so now that I am, I mean, it is important. And I don't want to undervalue that every 6-year process that we go through.
Thank you.
Any questions for Kara? Okay. You or your staff may have recently been told, hey, can you if you ask for a facility to use a meeting room or what have you, hey, can you resubmit using this form, or can you do this, can you do that? We are starting a new process, and we're kind of on 2.0 right now. We did a small release to a limited group. Now it's open to everybody, but we're not going to advertise it yet. And this is our new facility use request form. I linked it there in the chat here, but I'm going to also share my screen and kind of walk everybody through it. It's a dual use form, and why? Okay. This is the first time I'm zooming on a Mac, and I have no idea how to share this window. Well, if you can click on that link I put in there, it'll take you to the new Koali build form. And it would be so much better if I could actually show this to you folks.
It's probably in your settings, Brian. I think you would have to log out and log back in. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just quickly go through it. I mean, the new form accomplishes a couple of different things at one time. The first one is use of a facility. Having a meeting, need a meeting room. Non-credit, having a class, need a classroom, et cetera. But it also will lead to other areas, because events are treated differently than your classes, than your meetings. And so there's room on that form because it's Koali build, we have a number of areas where we can branch off to. And it's either one of those if and then you can make decision trees, and that's what the way the form will work. So it'll also include in there your work request. So for example, Shannon wants to have a student government meeting. She needs a room for 20 something people. She needs AC and she needs a special setup. She can put all of that within one form electronically, whereas she couldn't before. So again, this is the 2.0 release. It's open to everyone, but we're not advertising it yet. So I provided that link. What we hope to do in the next week or two is to send out a wider email to the rest of the campus. And thanks, Shell. Thank you. So Shell, can you click on that I hereby accept the terms? So the reason why we ask for this is that that's the first decision. And then it opens certain things for us. So Shelly will put in her information. Of course, we always ask for your department, your area, your supervisor, and all of this is generally, drop down. Your supervisor, Shelly's will pop up immediately, or would just automatically pop up to me. And she probably types in my name. It didn't automatically, there it is. And then this is where your second decision is. Why are you here today? You're going to schedule a class. You're going to report a facility issue. So let's assume we're scheduling a class. And then what is it? It's a class. And let's say it's an event, shall we? Let's say it's an event. So the event will pull up something different than a class will. It'll ask you information about the event and whether you need certain things. Okay, so this is, so if you notice, hold on, Shell. If you notice this, look at what the questions that are being asked. Are outside external organizations involved? Is this an indoor or outdoor? Go back up and choose a class now, Shell. So this is largely for non-credit, but say Susan or Carol put in, class, so non-credit. If you scroll down, it asks you a whole different set of different questions. Although it's not working the way we want it to. And that's why we're on 2.0 as opposed to 3.0. But again, this is the way we're accepting facility use requests. If you don't put one in, I'm certain that someone in your division is doing it, or someone in your unit is doing it. As you guys know, I've been starting to I've tried to, for the last 5 or 6 years, tighten down on the use of our facilities simply for security reasons. And as COVID popped up and continues, even more so for that, we just want to make sure our campus remains safe. So we are insisting that folks submit facility use forms, or it will be, difficult for us to open doors and get AC, to those areas that you might need them. Anyway, we have some bugs we need to work through. If there's any questions, I'm happy to help answer them. I know Carol had some questions.
Brian,
Yes,
can you folks all hear me?
they can all hear you.
Okay, so I just wanted to point out that this is not only a facilities use form, but it's also a service request form, aka work request form. And so that's what this second option is. And so when you select that, it's going to strictly take you to the service type request checklist. And so then this is, say, for example, say you something's wrong with your door, or your door lock is broken. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm camera shy, so I don't have my camera on. So those are the type of things, or say your lights are not working, or your bulb needs to be replaced. So this link here is also for service requests, which is before it was called a work request.
Thanks, Shell. Any questions on
I have a
that?
question.
Sure.
It's Candy. So I can't really say I'm a new department chair anymore. I'm trying to milk it for all I can though. But not having a secretary, I'm not really clear. I scheduled for my courses, for all the courses in social sciences, and I kind of used the room that they always used before. Psychology was in this room and this was in this room, right? So I used their traditional rooms, but for all of that, do I need to put in a request for every class that we're having in person?
That's a great question, and something I should have addressed right up front. If it is in your schedule of classes, no. If it's a banner class, you do not have to do this. It will get done. I will say that with the server outage issue that a lot of the campus is dealing with, Shelly and I have to do some, we lost a script that used to port the information from Banner into our scheduler. We have an older version of that script. We're trying to figure that out now. So as summer comes up, and more importantly, as fall comes up, in a regular semester, Candy, I'll answer and say, no, you don't have to do anything. What you did, put it in Banner, it'll immediately come over and we have something to port it into our scheduler. We don't know how that's going to work this fall unless we can get the script cleaned up.
Well, thank goodness. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. But Candy, where this does work in is you want to, for example, have a department meeting, right? You'll have to submit something just to ensure that there's no conflict in the use of rooms, things like that.
Great, thank you.
Hello, Brian and
Yes, Carol.
Shelley. Yeah, non-credit turned in through Kuali, a request, and I think it was incorrect. And so we were asked to put in like the hard copy form, I think. Is it because this is not working yet? We're still on the 2.0 version, or I'm not quite sure what the issue was.
Well, I think what happened was because for the particular request that was submitted, because there's a prep day as well as a then following
Class
day
day.
is the actual class day. And
Yes,
so they listed the two different times, two different dates.
yes.
And then the times were didn't make sense for
Oh,
whatever
okay.
reasons. And so that's why, just to make it easier, because it was already, because that's the one for this week, for
Yeah,
this
this
Friday.
week.
And so I just reached out to you folks and just had them just do the paper version.
Okay, so
And
it's
luckily, one of your people had the paper version on their computer.
okay.
So that
So-
worked out okay.
Okay, so it can go on Kuali with the correct information.
Correct. So if you
All
folks
right.
are having any future classes for the culinary where you folks are going to be doing cooking up at CIP or something like that, then sure, you folks can go ahead and use this.
All right, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other questions about the facility use form?
Brian,
Yes.
sorry for coming late. I was looking at the form and I know you kind of provided some of that, well, at our last out meeting, some updates on the print. What is it called? Print room, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, the print shop.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, so like, I was looking at it going like, what if we need Xerox paper? What if I think you made the example like, International Festival wants to print something. Just asking, so maybe you can provide everybody else with the same kind of update you gave us.
Yeah, sure. We're not exactly ready with the details.
Got it.
But I will share what the midterm plan is right now. And again, we're not exactly 100% ready because there's some things we need to take care of. Package delivery in the past, especially during the pandemic, has sometimes been an issue. People aren't there. Maybe it's delivered to another building, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes we internally will make a delivery and it either goes to the wrong place or it ends up for whatever reason not being there when the user expects it to. What we plan to do, and again, the details are not finalized, we no longer have a print shop. One of the positions that I gave up a couple of years ago, and with the pandemic and the shrink in a lot of our vacancies, it's not something that we're going to be opening up anytime soon again. So this is a double-sided message in the fact that some of the larger print jobs that programs used to do will have to now be farmed out. But what the plan is to do with that space is to turn it into like a package center. We would receive the packages and or they would be delivered directly there by UPS, FedEx, USPS. And then we would send an email or somehow put a key to a locker in your mailbox, and then you would be able to retrieve the package. That way there's no question. It doesn't sit outside of your door. It doesn't get misdelivered. And so that's the plan with the print shop space. Any questions on that?
Brian, I don't have any questions on that, but I just wanted to point out to the group that if you folks are going to be filling out that facilities use and service request, if it is for facilities and requires setup and everything, you folks might want to get that in early because it's being routed to, if you're the requester, you have to route it to your supervisor, then it has to go to the next person for review, then to another person. So there might be multiple layers that the form has to go through to be approved. And by the time it gets finalized, it might be where it's after the fact already. And so that's one more thing I just wanted to point out. If you guys are filling that out for large events, or even if it's small, just kind of get it in so that that gets routed accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, so I do have a question. What happens if we don't have like a mailbox? Like Kikaho'olea, he does not have mailboxes for everyone in here. That's just something to think about. If we're not sure yet, then I just want to bring that up to your radar.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, Navarre put me on the spot because I wasn't ready for the details yet, but that's okay. That's okay. I mean, we're sharing and that's fine. As long as, I mean, these kinds of things that you're bringing up are important so that we can think about them. You know, the big thing we have to do now is and this is where it's going to take time. We have to clear the print shop. Physically, it's impossible for us to do anything in there right now. Somebody, and I won't mention any names on the ELT team, begged Manoa for 5 million gallons of hand sanitizer that is now taking up the entire print shop. That, along with gloves and face masks and things that were necessary for the pandemic. The unfortunate part is David Apostle and I were in the print shop yesterday, and that hand sanitizer expires this month. So a lot of it might go to waste. I'm not saying it has to be thrown out at the end of April, but I'm assuming we're not going to get much more use past 2023, April 2023 or so. That's a good question for you, Coco. How long is hand sanitizer good for?
I think it's for a year, but you know, I could take some of that off of your hand and put it in the pantry, and Pohu Kaina could probably get rid of it for you.
There you go. There you go.
Most definitely,
so-
yeah. If there's any ideas of places that could use it, by all means, let us know.
Okay,
Send an email to us,
Okay.
Coco, and then
thanks.
that's not a problem at all. It would be a proper use of it. Absolutely, keeping our students safe and healthy. Any other questions about? Well, let me make sure where we at in the agenda. Yeah. So, any other questions about strategic plan? I saw a bunch of stuff coming up in the chat. PAOA or facility use? Okay, our next, we're going to move to questions now. There's a question here, campus question on the agenda. It's proposal to have a department chair Google Doc report for departments to share their top priorities and challenges in real time. I believe this was Lisa Aganon who had put this on here. Is Lisa here? Okay, I don't know. So Lisa's not here. What I'm going to recommend to CAC or even to you, Maria, is maybe this should be discussed at the where it's like a more DC centric type group, like at AAC or at CAC. Okay. Finally, there was a question on an update on the HERF expenditures. I am going to once again have an extremely difficult time, and I can't share my screen. What do I have to do to get the files here in a Mac? It's only been 2.5 years.
Go to your Finder.
Go to my Finder.
On
Yeah.
your
What
menu,
next?
it's that face. It should be on the far left.
I got it.
Yeah. And then go to documents or downloads, depends on where you have your stuff.
Oh, this is online. This is an email document. I'll tell you what, I'm going to just share it with Justin. Can you share the latest HERF report that came out last week, Friday? Can you put it online?
Wait, Brian, what do you want? Like, what do you mean online?
Like
Share screen?
Yeah, share screen.
Did you forward it to me?
I forwarded it to you, yeah. One moment, please.
One moment.
Is this where you're supposed to sing, Brian?
I would, but trying to
Brian,
save my voice.
is this the report that Louise sends us on the HERF?
She might send it to you folks. Yeah, yeah.
I have
yeah.
it. I mean,
Can you share that? The first page. But
yeah.
you know what? I'm going to,
Yeah.
Justin's going to open them in a second.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Is this the one you're talking about?
That is
No.
the one. HERF summary. Yes, that is the one. HERF summary. So as I will remind everyone, whenever you share a spreadsheet, you can also control. You can also control.
Oh Lord.
Well, what happened, bro?
I don't know. My goodness gracious. Yeah.
Okay. So you can control the size of the screen, but Navat, you might want to make this a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Can you download it to your Excel? And just open up an Excel as opposed to in the browser?
Sure. Okay. Hold on. Let me download. Almost there. Oh, this is kind of nerve-wracking when everybody watching, yeah.
That's why you turn off your camera.
Huh? Yeah,
I
but
said, that's why you turn off your camera, because I camera shy. So
your camera shy is not a good reason for your camera to be off, but Shelly. Okay, I think I'm ready now.
Okay, go.
Share. 2. Share. You see them?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Where, HERF summary.
Yeah, go to the HERF summary.
Now make them bigger.
Okay. Yeah, maybe 120.
120.
Well, that works too.
Okay.
Okay. So just very quick. So what this is a update on HERF. This is as of April 1st, so last week Friday. As all of you know by now, we had 3 tranches. The first tranche was student aid, tranche 2 was institutional, and tranche 3 was MSI or minority serving institutions. Besides the 3 tranches, we had 3 releases of HERF. We had CARES, we had CRRSA or CRRSAA, and we had ARP or American Recovery Plan, ARP. So if you look at the first line here, or the first tranche, can you just highlight the entire row, Navaa? Line, row 11, yeah.
And
okay, so with CARES, we had 1.01 million. With CRRSA, we had 1.01 million. And with ARP, we had 3.9. So we had a total amount of 5.95 million for student aid. As of April 1st, we've expended 5.76 million. So that is a tremendous job. I think it sounds easy to give away to students $6 million. It ain't that easy. So I know he's not on here, but I think folks like Jen Bradley, I don't know if she's on here either, or Jerry, this is a phenomenal job. I mean, top notch right here. Cynthia and Justin folks at the cashier's office, business office, were able to process all of this. I mean, this is seriously not easy. So that's our standing on tranche 1, and that's our direct student aid. When it comes to tranche 2, it's a little bit interesting because tranche 2, essentially what the law was, the grant requirements for this, you cannot spend, I'm sorry, you can spend your institutional portion on a 1-for-1 basis, meaning if you own out of the 1 million for student aid, if you only spend 500,000, you can only spend 500,000 in the institutional portion. So it was kind of a balancing act for a little while to make sure that we weren't ahead on the institution side, because we needed to make sure that, and the feds wanted to make sure that we gave out our student side. So on the institutional side, tranche 2, with CARES, we had 1.01 million. With Carissa, we had 3.472 million. And with ARP, we had 3.75. And that gave us a total budget in column F of 8.19 million. So as of April 1st, we expended 2.9 million, and we have an unexpended balance of 5.25. But if you scroll over, Navaa,
This way?
yeah,
Okay.
we have encumbrances of 2.042 million. So that gives us an available balance of 3.2 million. Okay. So this is where I'm going to ask you guys, if you stop me, if you guys get confused on where we're at with ARP. So, because you're going to say, well, Brian said we're out of HERF already. What's going on? We are. Okay. So our available balance as of 4/1 was 3.2 million. But if you go all the way down to the next area,
Where?
so go all the way to scroll to the left.
Left. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going to the beginning. And you see under tranche 3, minority serving institution.
Yes.
So we got 1.7 million in CARES, 3.2 million in Carissa, and 3.8 million in ARP, for a total amount of 8.8 million. We expended 6.6 million. We had an unexpended balance of 2.27 million. No encumbrances. Keep going. And we had an available budget of 2.2 million. So in total, we had an available budget of 3.2 plus 2.2, we're at roughly 5.4 million, approximately. So go all the way to the right.
Right. No, the other right.
Left, my left. Sorry, left.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the total view of where we're at. So can you highlight Kapiolani again, row 50?
At the total, this
Yeah,
one.
yes, please. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so total amount for CARES 3.7, total amount for Carissa 7.7, total amount for ARP 11.4. So a total budget of 22.9. We spent 15.247 million. We had an unexpended balance of 7.08 million with encumbrances of 2.042 million. So that gives us an available budget of 5.6 million. Brian, I thought you said we out of HERF. We are. And here's why we're out of HERF. There is an interesting thing that we were able to take advantage of, probably more so than any other campus. And that was called revenue loss. And we were affected by almost more than any other campus by revenue loss, with the exception of probably Manoa, because we lost international students. And don't forget that international students basically pay 3 to 4 times as much. So with the revenue loss, what the grant requirements asked us was, hey, what was the loss when the COVID years as opposed to non-COVID years? So the federal government said, well, you can come up with a methodology to show how you lost. So essentially what we did was we took fiscal year 17, fiscal year 18, and fiscal year 19. We took a 3-year prior to the pandemic. And we said, this is how much we made for tuition and fees. And in FY20, this is how much we made. And so there was a loss. And we were able to do revenue loss for essentially the 3 years. FY20, which was a half year, if that was the spring of FY20, the entire FY21, and so far up to where we're at with FY22. The entire amount of revenue loss far exceeded 5.6 million. But that's why we were able to draw all of that down. So we're in the process right now of drawing the entire available budget down, and we're going to treat that as a revenue loss. We're hoping that can come to us in whole as tuition and fees, and then that becomes part of our budget. So a few weeks ago, when I went over our, at CAC, I went over our financial plan and our financial projections and where we stand. We are scheduled to end this year with a lot of tuition and fees, roughly in the neighborhood of about 11.5 million. So I know the next question. So let me stop right there and ask, is there any questions? Did I lose anybody? Can I explain something a little bit better? Okay. Did I hear somebody?
Yeah, Brian, so are
Yes.
you, so these federal funds, can they be put into TFSF? Tuition?
That's what they allow us to do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's very few grants, if any, are ever going to allow you to do that. That's why I'm saying this is a very interesting and unique way for us to expend the grant. So I'm going to move to the next phase. And so the next question is, well, geez, Brian, we had $11.5 million. I mean, why is my program, why didn't you restore all my cuts? And why didn't you, why aren't we allowed to hire and things like that? Okay, so first of all, let me tackle hiring. Hiring is not our decision anymore. As many of you know, we have, thanks Nava, we have a process of requesting to fill positions, and that consists of us sending a request form through the President's Exception portal, and that goes to the Associate Vice President of Community Colleges, Michael Nabasami, then goes to the Vice President of Community Colleges, Erica LaCroix, and then, assuming they agree, will then go to President Lasner for his final approval. It's a long process. They're not going to pull any punches. It is a long process, and I know that my own folks in ELT get frustrated with me because I'm constantly sending it back and asking questions and stuff. But it's the only way we can get it through. If as long as I know the questions are going to be asked, it's the only way we can get it through. So I do apologize on behalf of system leadership. It is what it is right now. And it's a process that we'll likely have to follow for at least the foreseeable future. So then it comes to your operating budget. So somebody maybe like Annie's like, well, give me my library money back, or you know what? I mean, why haven't you restored the cuts? Here's the reason why. Very plain and simple. We are never, at least for the foreseeable future, going to get to a point where we were in 2019. It's going to take a few more years because students have yet to come back. We're still losing students 3 to 5% each semester. I'm sorry, let me say 2 to 4% each semester. More importantly, we've lost international students. There's also the fact that this money is one time. So while you may want to hire a position, or while you may want to get into a yearly contract with a vendor or contractor, this is one-time money. Once it's spent, it's gone. So until we as a campus, as a university, as a system, as a state, can get back into predictable patterns of revenue, we have to make sure that we use that funding, the funding that we have, prudently. So that's the reason why we do have to be very careful. We do have to take extra special steps before we allocate and allow for the spending of this federal money that became tuition and fees funding. Any questions? No questions. I must have done a bang up job explaining that.
So, Brian, sorry.
No, go ahead, Carol.
So since that funding from, the emergency fund is going to be able to go into TFSF, then it will be able to put it into a reserve, because we're not going to have it anymore. And then if we hit hard times again, we need that retirement fund, like you used to call it, the
Yep.
rainy day fund. Can we
Yep.
save it then?
And that's the goal. We don't necessarily have an account that we, like the state of Hawaii, where it's a reserve. And that's why we essentially are saying we need to reserve the funds. I'll say this, and I've said this in the past. what I feel very comfortable with is 20 to 25% of our yearly average expenditures. So on average, we expend about, I want to say $35 million. And I'm sure, I don't know how close I am, but I'm off probably maybe by a couple of 100,000. But that would be 3.5 million, 10% plus 3.5 million. So I don't feel comfortable unless we have at least 7 million as an excess carryover. And what that helps us with is obviously downturns. What that helps us with is allows us to remain flexible. You know, if for example, God, knock on wood, but Hilton Hawaiian Village, God forbid if this happened, I mean, the entire state would go into chaos, but Hilton Hawaiian Village decided we're shutting down. And all of a sudden we have 7,000 people who need our training. That's what this money allows us to do. It allows us to be flexible. It also allows us to weather some of the storms that we're sure to face in the future. Because today it's BA2, and next week or next month or the end of the year is going to be Zeta Cron, Omicron. And you know, these are the things we need to be prepared for, and now we need to plan for. Now, for those who know accreditation, like Sunny, like Susan, like many of you folks, yes, we do have an accreditation required reserve. We store that money with the system. That's the reserve account that I wish we were able to create, Carol, because that money is untouchable unless the president and the board approve us to use it. And that money is approximately 10% of the prior year's expenditures. So we have about 3.5 to 4 million sitting with the system. Any other questions? Good questions, Carol. Jenny Brown, you are always good for a question or two. Nothing from you? Is she even on?
Yes, she
She's not
is.
listening.
Yes, she's on.
Okay.
She's responding to you in the chat.
Okay, if there's no questions, that's it. That's the end of the agenda. I appreciate you guys listening, and 48 of you joined today, even though Louise isn't here. I'm doing the uncomfortable silence that Louise normally does. Now, that's it. I'm done for the meeting. If there's nothing else to be shared, anything else from the executive leadership team? Maria, Noyao, Lisa, Nava'a, John, Carol?
Nope.
Okay. Well, until 2 weeks from now, which you'll have your fearless leader back. Aloha. Be good to each other. And what did she do? Wave to the camera. Wave to the camera.
And unmute yourself and say
Unmute.
goodbye.
Oh yeah, unmute
Wave.
yourself. Unmute yourself, and this is like church. Unmute yourself and welcome. everyone.
Mahalo.
All right, take care,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
See
Thank
you guys
you.
later.
Mahalo.
Ooh, good job,
Bye.
dude. Brian, you're turning more white. What's up with that?
I get what? Huh?
Oh, sun, you gotta get
Oh,
sun
I
for your
know.
calcium.
No,
We're getting
it's
old.
the-
We gotta have calcium.
It's the gray that's
Oh, that
reflecting
part.
on my.
I know. I'm like, wow, what happened?
It's called COVID hair.
I had to match.
Everybody has it, even me.
I had to match my Obama, man. Come on.
Oh, yeah, we all
See
had
you
to stay
guys.
on to see it.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.